What's up, music class? It's Jared here, and I'm going to be focusing on the people of the 1990s and a specific person called DJ Spooky, the Subliminal Mind Kid. And we are currently jamming to his song Galactic Funk, which I'll get into later in the presentation. But before we get into this, let's get some backstory on what turntablism is, as it is a crucial part to what I'm talking about. Turntablism is the use of the turntable as a musical instrument. And this is nothing new, folks, because back in the 30s, Paul Hindemith and Ernest Tuch first transformed turntables into instruments in the year 1930 by mixing tracks using a disc lathe to create short experiments with variable playback speeds. So I can get into that a lot more on a different presentation at the time, but we're not going to. But however, the use of turntables became a prominent factor in hip-hop music in the postmodern music in the late 80s and 1990s. That is why this guy that I'm going to be talking about comes into play, Mr. DJ Spooky. So where is this guy from, and how did he become important? Well, he's born in Washington, D.C. in 1970. And his father died when he was 3, and he obtained his extensive record collection, which he listened to quite extensively. And his mother worked for an international fabric store, so he was exposed to world music, and that influenced his work as well. And he was interested in hardcore punk before he graduated high school, so that's some beginnings with him. And after he graduated, he attended the college in Maine, right here, Bowdoin College, and obtained 2 degrees in French literature and philosophy, and it says that his involvement in philosophy helped shape his interest for creating music. And his transitioning into music happened when he graduated school. He was working as a science fiction artist, and he was a visual artist as well, and he moved to East Village in New York in the mid-1990s. He met up with W.E. Bizarre and Subbed Up and a few others to form Sound Lab, and he helped develop a new music scene called ambient. Now you might be wondering, what is ambient? Ambient is a different form of music. It fuses hip-hop and ambient noise. The ill is a slang term for hip-hop, and ambient comes from the word ambient, because you use a bunch of ambient noises that come from like the cities, the streets, room tone, kind of like the early forms of electronic music with Edgar Varese and of course John Cage. And the distinctive features use of noise and energy from the city, like I just said, and it closely resembles trip hop, which is a fusion of electronic music and hip hop, and it replaces vocals with abstract sounds. And this man right here, which we're talking about right now, is DJ Spooky, and he was one of the pioneers, along with DJ Olive, to create this type of music. So his gigs are part performance and part installation, and influenced by Cage and Tudor's work of 1964 and Variations 4, and mixes audio verite to form a modern music concrete. And he uses electronic tones, sampling, doubling, and he also rearranges chunks and sounds like pieces of time. So here are some of his releases that he released in the 90s: Rhythm Warfare, Neocropolis, and of course the album we're listening to right now, which is Songs of the Dead Drummer. And it is probably the cornerstone of ambient music, and he mixed uneasy hip-hop rhythms and ambient space, and explored the sound in all different atmospheres, linking it back to the early days of electronic music. And this song, Galactic Funk, that we're jamming to right now, was a hit in the club scene, and is probably the most prominent song of the 90s for this genre. So he started in music genre, and the guy's just the man. I don't know. I'm digging the music. Hope you guys are. There's my bibliography.